Howdy, folks, and welcome to Saddle and Sixgun. Are you looking for a real taste of the Old West? Then you've come to the right place. We're gonna share stories that will transport you back to a time of grit, determination, and the untamed spirit of the frontier. We hope you will enjoy the following video. So, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's ride. But before we get started, if you like what you see and want to keep up with our adventures, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Saddle and Sixgun. We'd sure appreciate it. Now let's get into our tale. The story begins with the dust-laden wind whipping across Catherine Morgan's gaunt face as she stumbled down the main street of Silver Creek, Arizona. Picture this, the Arizona sun beating down on her threadbare bonnet. A long way from home. 3 days without food, her vision blurred, darkening at the edges as the ground beneath her feet seemed to tilt and sway. Here she was, 500 miles from Boston with nothing but 2 pennies and a locket containing her mother's portrait. Can you imagine the feeling of hopelessness and despair? What would any of us do in that situation? It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit that she kept putting one foot in front of the other. Boston to Arizona is a long and difficult trek with lots of perils to overcome. It shows how tough people had to be to travel in those days. Not a lot of safety nets if things went wrong. She had her mother's portrait in a locket as a reminder of home and the people who loved her. That must have provided a little bit of comfort, but it couldn't fill an empty belly. The landscape can be very unforgiving if you are unprepared. I admire her for getting as far as she did. How about you? The year was 1876, and Catherine had come west following the death of her parents, chasing the promise of a teaching position that had evaporated like morning dew under the harsh western sun. She traveled all this way for a teaching position, only to have it taken away at the last minute. The telegram awaiting her arrival had been brief and devastating. Position filled, regrets offered, no other opportunities available. Can you imagine that kind of heartache after such a long and challenging journey? The death of her parents had to be a big emotional blow. It seems like she has very few options open to her. It is hard to believe there wasn't someone to take care of her in Boston. Maybe there wasn't anyone, and that would be why she was so poor. With no money and no job, what options did she have? This is where people had to show a lot of tenacity to overcome all the obstacles life put in front of them. It seems like people had more resolve back then than they do today. So, she had a dream, and that dream was snatched away. What do you do when your dreams evaporate? "Excuse me, miss," she managed to whisper to a passing woman. "Is there a place where one might find?" The words died on her lips as the world spun violently around her. Catherine felt her knees buckle, her body suddenly weightless as darkness engulfed her. So close to finding help, but her body just gave out. After days of going hungry and probably not much water, how could she stand? She was probably running on pure adrenaline and hope. Asking for help is difficult for some people to do. She might have been one of them. She wasn't sure if she was going to get help, but she was willing to try. She may have also been afraid that she would be turned away. I know people who have been turned away when they asked for help. You feel shame and embarrassment when it happens. But what else could she do? Without food or water, she would have died soon. She was right on the edge of that possibility. Have you ever felt like you were about to black out from hunger? The last thing she saw before consciousness fled was a pair of concerned blue eyes beneath the brim of a worn cowboy hat. A cowboy to the rescue, maybe? Zachariah Hayes had just tied his horse to the hitching post outside the general store when he noticed the slender woman in the faded blue dress swaying dangerously in the middle of the street. Something about her, perhaps the determined set of her shoulders, despite her obvious distress, caught his attention. He noticed her, just in the nick of time. It sounds like fate or providence played a part in their meeting. There must have been a certain vulnerability about her that drew him in. She was a lady in distress, and he was a man of action. It seems that his sense of honor was piqued by her situation. It must have taken a lot of courage for him to approach her. He could have kept going about his business and let someone else help. Maybe he didn't want her to be mistreated. There could have been less honorable men that would have taken advantage of her. Luckily, it was Zach that came to her rescue. Do you think it was fate or luck that brought them together? And if you are enjoying this story so far, and we sure hope you are, then please give us a like and subscribe to Saddle Sixgun. When she collapsed in a heap of skirts and petticoats, he was moving before his mind fully registered what had happened. Stand back. Give her air, Zach commanded, kneeling beside the unconscious woman. So, he's a man who takes charge. He sounds like he's a good man in a crisis. He didn't hesitate. That is a sure sign of someone who is dependable. The small crowd that had gathered murmured with concern and curiosity. Her face was pale beneath a layer of trail dust, cheekbones too prominent, lips dry and cracked. He seems to be very observant. It makes you wonder how he knew what her problem was. It's easy to assume that she was drunk or sick. She looked like she had been through quite a bit. I would have assumed something similar, to be honest. Sometimes it is easy to overlook someone who is in need, or assume that someone else will help. Good for him for stepping up and doing what was necessary. I think he knew she was a good person who just needed a helping hand. Maybe he had been in a similar situation at some point in his life. The way he gave commands makes me think he may have been in the military. What do you think? Someone fetched Doc Miller, he called out, sliding his arms beneath her slight frame. She weighed almost nothing, and that worried him more than her unconscious state. He'd seen starvation before during the war, recognized its hollowed grasp. So, it sounds like he was in the army, right? That experience probably hardened him, but it also gave him perspective. That would be why he recognized the signs of starvation. He knew she had been through a terrible ordeal. To weigh next to nothing is very concerning, especially for a woman. How long would it take her to recover from that? Ain't no need for the doctor, said Mrs. Holloway, the general store owner's wife. That girl's just hungry. Well, the local gossip knows all the details. Seems like Mrs. Holloway was watching her and saw what was going on. She may have been waiting for someone to help. Maybe she knew Zach would be the right person to help. It is a good thing Mrs. Holloway knew what the problem was so that Zach didn't waste time getting the doctor. Been watching her pace outside the store for an hour, staring at the bread like it was gold. Zach's jaw tightened. He'd grown up poor on a tenant farm in Tennessee before making his way west, and he knew hunger's bite too well to ignore it in others. Then I'll buy her some food. Okay, so this is a guy who knows what it is like to struggle. That makes him even more honorable. He is familiar with what she is going through, and that makes him more sympathetic. Growing up on a tenant farm is not easy. Those were some of the poorest people in the country. So, he is familiar with what is going on in her mind. He knows what it is like to be hungry and to not have options. That is something that he can use to help her. He probably feels empathy for her and wants to do what he can to help. Maybe this is a chance for him to pay back the people who helped him when he was younger. He grew up poor on a farm in Tennessee, and now he is a rancher in Arizona. What an amazing turnaround. He didn't forget where he came from. What an upstanding man. What do you think, folks? Tom, he nodded to the store owner, prepare a basket while I take her over to the hotel. Mrs. Peterson at the Silver Creek Hotel initially balked at the idea of giving a room to an unconscious woman of unknown character, but $3 silver quickly overcame her moral reservations. It's amazing how quickly a few dollars can change people's minds. It sounds like the hotel owner might be a little bit judgmental. It seems like money talks, even back then. Did the money just cover the cost of the room, or was there some extra in it for her? We don't know, but she did take the money. Zach is making sure she is taken care of, no matter what. He is going above and beyond just buying her some food. He could have left her at the general store to recover. He is taking her to a warm, safe place where she can get her strength back. That shows he is genuinely concerned. It seems like he has a lot of compassion for her situation. I wish there were more people like that today. What do you think? By the time Zach had settled Catherine on the bed, removed her shoes, and loosened her collar, Tom Holloway arrived with a basket containing bread, cheese, dried fruit, and a jar of preserves. Can you imagine how grateful she would be? A safe place to rest, and a full belly. That is all she needs to get started. Seems like the whole town is helping her. That makes Silver Creek sound like a great place to live. It takes a village to raise a family, right? And they have adopted Catherine. Add it to my account, Zach told him, placing the food on the small table by the window. And tell your wife to send over some broth. He has taken the burden off Catherine, and he isn't expecting anything in return. It is a very kind and generous thing to do. He knew what she needed, and he provided it without hesitation. What a great human being. I admire his willingness to give without expecting anything in return. Those are the best kind of people. And remember to like and subscribe to Saddle and Sixgun. When Catherine's eyelids finally fluttered open, she found herself staring at a rough-hewn ceiling. Confusion swept through her as she tried to piece together where she was and how she'd gotten there. I wonder what went through her head when she woke up. I'm sure she was disoriented and confused. She was probably grateful to be alive. It may have been hard for her to process everything that happened. She was hungry, tired, and lost. All of a sudden, she is in a warm bed in a strange room. The kindness of strangers is a beautiful thing. It can restore your faith in humanity. The last thing she remembered was the busy street, the dizziness, and then nothing. So, she probably thought she had died. And now, she has to figure out where she is and what is going on. She is probably going to be very grateful to whoever helped her. This is the beginning of a new chapter in her life. It will be interesting to see how she responds to everything that has happened. Do you think she will stay in Silver Creek? You're awake. The deep voice startled her. Catherine turned her head to find a man sitting in a chair by her bedside. He was tall, even-seated, with broad shoulders and sun-bronzed skin. She probably thinks she is dreaming. It's interesting how we tend to categorize people by their physical appearance. A tall, broad-shouldered, sun-bronzed cowboy. That is a description that fits this channel perfectly. Dark hair curled slightly at his collar, and those blue eyes she vaguely remembered were watching her with a mixture of concern and assessment. So, he is studying her to see if she is okay. He sounds like a man who takes things seriously. Maybe he is trying to figure out if she is trustworthy. Who knows? Where am I? Her voice emerged as a dry croak. I wonder how she felt when she saw him. Relieved? Scared? Intrigued? She may have thought he was a bad guy. She wouldn't know if she could trust him. But he did save her. She might also think she is obligated to him now. He could ask for anything in return for his help. That is probably why she is a little nervous. What do you think, folks? Silver Creek Hotel. You fainted in the street. He leaned forward, offering a glass of water. Drink slowly. Catherine attempted to sit up, mortification flooding her cheeks with color. Now the embarrassment is setting in. She has been a burden to a stranger. What can she do to repay him? I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. No apologies needed. You were hungry, not drunk. It is good he didn't judge her. He knew what the real problem was. That shows he is a very insightful person. Drunk people are generally avoided by the general public. Especially back then. She may be very embarrassed that a stranger saw her at her lowest point. How do you repay someone who has saved your life? His voice held no judgment, just a simple statement of fact. There's food here when you're ready. Fresh bread, some cheese. Best to start slow. The mention of food made her stomach clench painfully. Catherine couldn't remember the last time she'd eaten anything substantial. Pride warred with necessity as she eyed the basket on the table. "I cannot accept charity, sir." It is pride again preventing her from accepting help. It's interesting how pride can get in the way of our own well-being. It can be difficult for people to accept help, even when they really need it. I think it's a sign of strength to ask for help when you need it. We are all in this together, and it is okay to lean on each other sometimes. How can she ever repay him for his kindness? He seems to have a very good heart. We need more people like him in this world, right folks? And be sure to like and subscribe to Saddle and Sixgun. It's not charity, it's bread, he interrupted, a hint of stubbornness entering his tone. And my name is Zachary Hayes. Most folks call me Zach. Catherine hesitated, dignity battling with the hollow ache in her belly. He seems determined to help her. She's probably never met anyone like him before. He is a little bit stubborn, but that is what makes him a good cowboy, right? He knows what he wants and he goes after it. I'm sure he worked hard to get where he is today. Catherine Morgan, she finally offered. I had employment arranged, but upon my arrival, I discovered the position had been filled. So, she is finally opening up to him a little bit. She is starting to trust him. At least she is willing to tell him her name. Sharing your name is a big step. It's like you are giving a part of yourself to someone. I wonder if she is starting to develop feelings for him. Probably not yet, but he is making a very good impression. She is telling him what happened to her. It's like she is asking for his help. Or maybe she is just explaining why she is in this situation. Zach wants her to be comfortable and to eat, and then they can talk about everything. Zach nodded, standing to retrieve the basket and placing it beside her on the bed. Eat first, worry later. He seems to know what she needs. The first bite of bread nearly brought tears to her eyes. Catherine forced herself to eat slowly, though every instinct screamed at her to devour everything in sight. It is interesting how we remember the little things in life. For her, the taste of bread is now a symbol of hope and kindness. She probably never thought of bread as something special before. How many times have we taken food for granted? I know I have. Zach watched her for a moment before tactfully turning to look out the window, giving her the privacy to eat without scrutiny. He is very considerate of her feelings. He knows she is embarrassed and he wants to make her feel comfortable. That shows he is a gentleman and a very good person. He has a good heart. He is giving her space to eat without feeling like she is being watched. That's a small act, but it shows a lot of respect and consideration. She is probably not used to being treated with such kindness. He is making a lasting impression on her. What do you think? And we hope you will like and subscribe to Saddle and Sixgun. You're not from around here, he observed. Boston, she confirmed between careful bites. My parents passed within months of each other. Consumption. The house went to creditors, and I had little choice but to seek employment elsewhere. So, he is trying to get to know her. He's asking her questions about her life. It sounds like she has been through a lot of loss and hardship. It sounds like he is trying to figure out what kind of person she is. She is probably very grateful for his kindness. She may also be wondering what he wants from her. He is a single man, after all. It sounds like she is giving him a little bit of information, but she is still being cautious. I think it is a good thing that she is being careful. You can't trust everyone. But it sounds like she is warming up to him. She is revealing more about her background. She is getting used to the idea that he is not a bad guy. As a teacher, Catherine's eyebrows rose in surprise. He is observant. He is trying to figure her out. He is trying to understand her better. He is figuring out what kind of person she is. Yes, how did you know? A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. You speak like someone who's read a lot of books. And you, Mr. Hayes, are you native to Silver Creek? He is noticing things about her speech. He recognizes that she is educated. I like how he phrased that, you speak like someone who's read a lot of books. That is a very tactful way of saying she has good English skills. It is an endearing statement. He shook his head. Tennessee originally came west after the war. He doesn't reveal too much about himself. I run cattle about 15 miles north of town. He sounds like he doesn't want to dwell on the past. He is probably trying to protect himself from getting hurt. I admire how he is willing to share his story with her. He knows it is important for her to know who he is. He sounds like he is trying to impress her, but he's not trying too hard. So, they are both being cautious. What do you think will happen next? He didn't elaborate on his circumstances, and Catherine didn't press. The West, she was learning, had its own code of privacy. It sounds like they are both respecting each other's boundaries. They are both being careful about what they reveal. This is a sign that they are both respectful of each other. The West had its own code of privacy, which must have been hard for someone from Boston. She is starting to learn that people in the West are different. She is starting to adapt to her new surroundings. I bet she never expected to find herself in this situation. Catherine is starting to learn how things work in the West. The people are rougher and more independent. As Catherine's strength returned with each bite of food, she became increasingly aware of her precarious situation. A woman alone in a frontier town with no money, no job prospects, and no connections. And now she was indebted to this stranger who had quite possibly saved her life. The awareness is setting in now. She owes this man her life. What can she do to repay him? I must find work, she said, setting aside the remains of her meal. I cannot impose on your kindness any longer. She is probably feeling very guilty about being a burden to him. You've been conscious for all of 10 minutes, Zach pointed out dryly. Maybe give yourself until morning. He's trying to be practical and realistic. He knows she is not in any condition to be looking for work. I like how he is not letting her guilt drive her to do something foolish. He wants her to take care of herself first. It shows he cares about her and wants her to be safe. She is getting herself worked up over nothing. She is going to go find a job when she can't even stand up. I haven't the funds for a hotel room, Catherine admitted, shame coloring her words. He seems like he is going to take care of that. I like how he is trying to reassure her and make her feel comfortable. It's paid through tomorrow. When she opened her mouth to protest, he raised a hand. Consider it a loan if your pride demands it. Silver Creek's not a bad town, Miss Morgan. There might be work for someone like you. He is letting her save face. He knows she is prideful, so he is letting her believe that she is doing this on her own. He understands her need to maintain her dignity. I think she's going to be very grateful to him in the long run. I wonder how she will repay him. What will she do when she gets on her feet? I hope she stays in Silver Creek. Someone like you, she echoed, unsure if she should be offended. He probably didn't say that correctly. Someone educated, he clarified. Someone who doesn't belong in a saloon or a laundry. Oh, well there it is. He's trying to protect her from the seedier side of town. It sounds like he respects her and doesn't want her to get into a bad situation. He sees her as someone who is above that kind of work. He is trying to let her know that he thinks she is special. He does seem to see something in her, and wants her to make the most of her skills. The best way he knows to help her. This means he might be trying to court her, right? If you like and subscribe to Saddle and Sixgun, we will tell you if you are right in the next video. The way he said it with such certainty made Catherine wonder what he saw when he looked at her. Not the desperate half-starved woman she felt like, but something else entirely. What does he see in her? Does he see her potential? I hope she sees it too. Thank you, she said softly. For the bread and everything else. Zach nodded, uncomfortable with gratitude. That's interesting. He doesn't know how to deal with gratitude. He is probably not used to people being grateful to him. Maybe he does good things because it makes him feel good. Rest. I'll check on you tomorrow. He seems like he cares for her already. This makes me wonder if it is love at first sight for him. He placed his hat on his head and paused at the door. Silver Creek's a growing town. It might just have a place for you. He seems very hopeful for her future. It seems as though he is trying to encourage her to stay in Silver Creek. He wants her to make a life for herself there. I hope she takes his advice. After he left, Catherine sank back against the pillows, her mind racing despite her exhaustion. She is probably trying to figure out what to do with her life. She had never been one to believe in providence or fate. But as she drifted off to sleep with a full stomach for the first time in days, she wondered if perhaps her collapse in the street had been more fortunate than she realized. I think she will start to believe in fate after this. She's probably rethinking her whole life and her purpose in this world. I'm sure she is very grateful to Zach. I am looking forward to the next chapter in their story. I hope you are too. And be sure to like and subscribe to Saddle and Sixgun.